Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, and tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. It's lit again. It's up again. We got Jeremy Reeves. We got Jahmyr Gibbs on the hot seat, man. Black women on their top. What y'all think? So I'm gonna show y'all a couple clips. We're gonna review them. Jeremy Reeves, just gives you a little bit of backstory. He proposed to his longtime girlfriend that he knew since high school at the game once the Redskins or the Commanders found out they were going to the playoffs. She a white girl, of course, which is seemingly a red flag. Just a little bit about him specifically. He played at South Alabama, right? I don't even know where the boy's from. I think he's from Florida, if I'm not mistaken. But he played at South Alabama. That's the Sun Belt Conference. So that is not Alabama. That is not Michigan. That is not Notre Dame. That is not Penn State. That is not University of Florida. That is not Florida State. It's low-level Division I. He's in terms of perspective. So he's probably a 2-star prospect, maybe. The trajectory from South Alabama to the NFL is not great. I think he came out in 2017 or 18, so he's a little bit older. The average NFL career is 3.5 years, so he's been fighting and striving his way. It's now 2024. He made a Pro Bowl, which is great. They pick, I think it's like 4 or 5 guys for the Pro Bowl on a given position. If you hear somebody make All Pro is only 2 guys at each position. And you don't have to play in any game. It doesn't matter, right? Those are just simply the guys who are selected to be the best players at their position in the NFL that year, right? So he plays strong safety. So it'd only be 2 people picked as an All-Pro. Now that is the thing that the guys often strive for. But the Pro Bowl means you had a great year as well. That's a lot of fan voting also. So it can be skewed in that way. All-Pro, everybody doesn't get a vote. Select people have a vote for All-Pro. And oftentimes the players agree who's an All-Pro. But going back to his history, right? South Alabama, smaller school, Division I school. He went as an undrafted free agent, which means the draft came. They went through 7 rounds, 780 guys, 770 guys. He wasn't selected. He had a long road to where he is now. To get selected to a Pro Bowl as an undrafted free agent from a small school is few and far between. We do have some greats. Jerry Rice went to a small school. Terrell Owens went to a small school. But generally speaking, those are extreme outliers and it doesn't happen. When you look at the NFL itself, LSU, I think, has the most players in the NFL. And then it'll go down Alabama, Michigan, all the schools that all the blue bloods, so to speak, right? The perennial powers. So he's not just a guy who it is assumed that he was going to be great, So even if we make that argument, she was with him through high school because she could know it or she could see it. His trajectory is not as easily seen as a Travis Hunter or a lot of the guys that you go see to go to those really, really big schools. Nobody has South Alabama as a school that they want to go to, but they with white girls. They with white girls. What is you guys' perspective on that? Let me know in the comments. And when you listen to him, it makes sense when he talks. And I'll just leave it at that. We'll review the clip together. Let me see what y'all think. Jahmyr Gibbs, now, different trajectory. I forget what school specifically. Somebody will put it down in the comments, but he was the 10th pick by the Detroit Lions a couple years ago. He's a running back, right? Running backs have been a little bit devalued. So him being picked 10th was under a little bit of scrutiny. But needless to say, this year he had 20 touchdowns. The boy can play, point blank, period. His trajectory it was a little bit more seamless, meaning you kind of knew who he's going to be and where he's going to go from high school. But what happens when these athletes get to these PWIs? What I think in terms of Jahmyr, which is different from Reeves because he knew that girl since high school, is like they come from environments that are predominantly us oftentimes. When you look on the field, I thought Georgetown was an all-black school because of the basketball team. Growing up as a kid, watching Iverson and, looking at the coach, rest in peace, John, when in actuality, the school is 99% white. I'm exaggerating, right? But 90% white for sure. That's not a joke. And it's like the white women, because I play football in college as well on a smaller level, it's like they just cater. Whatever you ask them to do, they do. They are the tutors that we're allocated. You know, this person's in your class, make sure you help with X, Y, and Z. You know, when you go to study hall, that's who's there. They don't ask any questions. They easy going. And I think the men who have different proclivities in terms of what they want, need, and understand and what's important to them, if they don't value marrying in their culture, which I would argue, because I think marriage is probably the one most important construct that a man, if he does subscribe to, is impactful to his life, right? Oftentimes, the quickest way to wealth is marriage with the nuclear family, because you got two people who are locked in together and, you know, have similar or the same goals in two forms of income. But arguably the most important construct, they're doing it with a person outside of their culture. But is it because how they treat it? Let me show y'all a couple clips, and I want to know y'all commentary in the chat. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. So this is Jahmyr Gibbs here, right? He's a hell of a football player. He's a running back. Like I said, 20 touchdowns this year. This is after the game. And look what he does. This was sent to me. Maybe intentionally, maybe ironically, by a couple black women.
Gibbs looking for.
She sent this to me. I said, let me be clear. Salute to Jahmyr Gibbs. I like how he plays football. I'm a proponent of black men and women getting and staying together to further the culture as much as possible. But you hear all the complaints based on the conversations that we have on YouTube each and every day. Black men, at the very least on YouTube, seeming that the black woman is difficult to deal with. But let me just share a statistic with you guys. 85% of 85% of black men who earn $100,000 or better are married to black women, right? I think that we look at these examples and we are very hyperbolic in how we see them. We think about the extreme, but 85% of us who get money with our women. Okay. 85% of us who get money are getting money with our women. Also, we make it a very bad assumption that most of our money comes from sports and entertainment, when the truth is black people have amassed the most wealth through real estate. You know, I'm telling you, man, when you get to these schools, man, how the white women respond and act is just, it's like they go there for that purpose. It's like somebody taught them, yo, latch on to these athletes. Be there for them. Before NIL, when you didn't have any money, you was waiting on a little refund check or a little stipend based on an away game trip. You know, before NIL, when she may have came from a family of influence, and now she could provide things that you couldn't normally provide for yourself. And the teams do a great job of taking care of the kids, right? But now with NIL, things have changed. The best players get money in school, right? You saw the players from Colorado. I mean, they making $1, $2, $3, $4 million. Nick Saban, one of his reasons for getting out was because he's like, man, this is like the NFL now. You can essentially buy all the players. I think he got an inkling and an itch to go back, but I remember him saying that specifically because of how much the landscape changed now that you have name, image, and likeness deals where they can get paid like the pros do for commercials and things of that nature. You say to yourself, what's the agenda? Is there one? Because I got another thing I'm going to show you after we watch this. So this is Jeremy Reeves here. So they win the game. He goes and gets her out of the end zone. She's sitting over there. He knows where she is. There's a lot of people at the game to support them as well.
It's so turns out I'm not real, just something you paid for. What was I made for? 'Cause I'm taking a drive.
So you see that? He looked happy, you know, cool, whatever the case is. Oftentimes we have these conversations, you know, if biblically speaking, in the Bible specifically, the Israelites, pursuant to Deuteronomy 7:3, said, "Do not make marriages with them." It named several tribes of Hamitic descent, and the Israelites were supposed to stay away from. Another sentiment that may be shared is if you look at 1 Kings 10 and 11, King Solomon, the wisest, richest man in the world ever, he had so many women from other nations that it perversed his mind. He started making idols, started praising their gods, made statues to praise their gods, right? Which is seemingly blaspheming the Most High God, right? And so he fell away from his culture and bought into theirs because of how heavy they influenced them. You know, you take a look at Samson and Delilah. Delilah was a Philistine, right? Not of his people. You saw what happened to Samson. She cut his hair, took advantage of him, right? He got it back at the end, but the end also cost him his life. So you see it, even biblically speaking, attaching yourself to women not of your nation seemingly had a couple people doing things they didn't want to do, and it didn't go how they thought it should go. What you guys thoughts on this? Leave it down in the comments. Let me show y'all this. So just to make sure you guys understand that we're not just speculating, here's the backstory.
Public proposal like fan, but you made me a fan because it was you. What was the best part of that?
The best part of it was that she didn't know. And I think like I mean, it was just a moment with me and her. Like me and her have known each other since high school. We've been best friends for a very long time. She knew about it. She knew that it was coming at some point. She just didn't know when. she laughing now. But
Can
it
I
was just
say
like,
hi to Michaela? You really had no freaking idea.
So his cadence, right? If we were just to make a judgment, which probably isn't right, but we're going to do it anyway. It sounds like he grew up in a demographic that may have been predominantly white, or at the very least his influences are as such, right? And that's bad speculation, right? I shouldn't judge to that degree, but we just trying to understand the dynamic here. He said he knew her since high school. They've been best friends. So he been with her. So I don't know if you could put the gold digger mantra on her, especially given his trajectory wasn't so clear as it is with a lot of the football players that you see. Like I said, South Alabama is not a destination place or a destination school.
Idea.
Especially coming out of Florida.
None. Come on.
Clueless. I wish I would have known. I would have looked a little better.
No, you looked amazing. You were amazing. Get out of here.
For sure cried.
No, I ain't gonna hold you. You didn't look amazing. You know, a lot of these white girls be average as hell. But they be locked in. They willing to do whatever.
The whole thing. We walked back under the stadium, and then I let him go to the locker room and do his thing and celebrate, and then met him back outside.
your phone was probably going crazy.
My phone was already going crazy, but then all the girls were there too, so I had to see them. It was just, everybody was there, so it was awesome.
You are a great couple. Good luck in the playoffs. Wild card round. You are winning at life. Congratulations, both of you. And I'm not an in-stadium public proposal like.
Right. So at the very least, she didn't jump on his bandwagon when he got to school. She seemingly was there ever since he was a kid, damn near. So they have a little bit different of a story. What you guys thoughts? Now, salute to this content creator here. Salute to Mariah C. Rose, MariahCrose. I think she had a hell of a breakdown with some screenshots, and even some people came out the woodworks, regardless of the race of his wife, hating, right? People always trying to get stain off your name. They willing to do whatever, even deface your character, disparage you, disparage your image, and destroy your life for the cost of being known. So take a look at this.
Let me tell y'all a story because I feel like we've officially lost the plot, right? So this is Jahmyr Reeves. He plays for the Washington Commanders. I read up a little bit on him. He's been cut from the NFL a few times. He like worked his way up to being a Pro Bowler, the NFL equivalent to being an all-star, okay? So great story, love that for him. So after a huge game for his team, the Washington, now called Commanders because their previous name was racist. Story for another day. Anyways, they haven't clinched the playoffs, like earned a playoff spot at this point in time since like 2020, COVID times. It's been a minute. They have a huge game against the Falcons. They win. They clinch the playoffs. Everybody's woo. He goes over to the sidelines. He pulls his girlfriend out of like the seats and proposes to her right there on the sideline. And then the whole crowd is cheering and whatever. So the video's everywhere. The NFL is posting it like, yay, proposal, woo. And instead of saying congratulations and keeping it moving, the internet turns this proposal into a subject of discourse. And when I say they are hitting all of the hot topics, from I wish she said no, something about this is so off to me. It screams all about him. Why do people public propose anyways? And at a football game in a uniform, if she likes it, I guess. Then this one
Hating ass nigga.
went pretty.
Why you hating to that extent, right? Now, I don't got nothing to do with when he proposed, how she should have said no. People be having some just built up, pent up frustration. They be so mad about any and everything all the time, seemingly, at the expense of others. You've seen this happen a million times. Cringe, she should have said no. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Viral. It says mid-white women got the NFL on lock. So this starts our second discourse, which is interracial dating.
I ain't gonna hold you. She definitely mid. She definitely average. But we make this argument before. Men love the 8s, 9s, and dimes. We love to look at them. But generally speaking, when men get married, he ain't trying to deal with all that headache. So men will marry a little bit down because seemingly what should happen is the cooperation. That could be arguable, but just trying to put it in perspective.
Like, oh, brother. And as a black woman myself, and before y'all start, it's January. I know I'm light bright, and I got 2 black parents. Leave me alone. I just feel like, why are we in it? Like, okay, he proposed to a white girl. Like, why are y'all throwing us in the discourse again? I just feel like it would be weird for me as a black woman to look at this proposal and say, why isn't he marrying a black girl? Because if we're not his cup of tea, okay, I don't want to marry him.
Well, here's the truth, right? When you look at the average income for black men, it's $49,000, right? So the average where most people fall. So when you look at resources, if he were to invest his resources in Mariah C. Rose here, seemingly her family, her children, his family benefits from said resources. When he marries the white girl, the resources partially leave the community, right? So I think that that's one thing that we could discuss in terms of investment. They often tell us that the black dollar only stays in our community for seconds. It takes minimal time for our dollars to leave our community. And if marriage be the quickest way to wealth, the most important construct that we have in our United States of America, in terms of a contract, a certificate, a binding that you can have with a person, I think that marriage needs to be understood, scrutinized, and allocated correctly. So I could see the concerns. Regardless if you care about how she looks or whatever the case is, we're just looking at the ramifications of such choices.
And like, good for them. They could have known each other since 3rd grade. I don't know their story. I don't know him. I would understand the discourse if he were out here like, will you marry me because I want to have light-skinned babies and fuck those black bitches? But the only context we have of these two is the proposal.
Yeah, and like we heard, he known her for a minute, right? She been in his life. He probably accustomed to being around white girls, you know, if we speculate, which we shouldn't do, which is wrong based on his cadence when he speaks. So, you know, we know the backstory there, 100%. And I think I've been edified previously that divestors would do or say the things that she said, as an example. F black women, they not as pretty, white women, he ain't saying all that. This is a girl that he grew up with, that he seemingly been in love with since we can remember, based on what they told us.
The biggest moment of their lives. But I'm not done. Discourse number 3 is Miss Kia comes out of the woodwork. She quote tweets it and says, "Not the same man who was in my DMs trying to fly me out and hump, you feel me, get down." I think not Kia. And I don't know them, but apparently this isn't true. Jeremy's telling Kia to lawyer up, and if you follow me, you know I love a little gossip. Okay, I love a little discourse. I love a little comment. But this was seemingly like so innocent. This is like a 10-second clip that should be like happy and positive.
Yo. You gotta be careful. You gotta be careful on this here internet with these here people. You gotta be careful in this here earth with these here people. People be going through ups and downs. Things be changing. People break up. People separate. And there are a lot of things that happen in the meantime, between time, But we don't know if Kia telling the truth. I'm going to say that she lying. She probably get 1 million DMs. I think from the research that she's an Instagram model. That'd be a thing nowadays. And so how many DMs she getting? How many men she turning down? How many times she been flown out? Why was she rejected, etc.? Who knows, right? But right now, based on what's happening, and maybe she want the girl to know, but people be so disingenuous. If she really wanted the girl to know, she would tell her direct. But this is her time to shine. She made it in this post. This post got 1 million followers because she tweeted that out. Jeremy ain't back down though, and I haven't heard nothing since. So it's probably bullshit. But she willing to destroy his character, destroy his image, destroy his relationship for the sake of a couple likes and clicks. That's one thing that we talked about last week, is that women don't have the physical prowess to hurt you, right? But character assassination is one thing that a woman actually alleged against women that they're willing to do. Innuendo, character destruction are things that women lean into because the physical prowess isn't there. And this is what a woman said. But that shit will destroy a person forever. Words kill. Words destroy. I asked the fellas this one day. I said, yo, what's worse? Do words hurt more than physical pain? They're like, no. I said, let me ask you a question. Would you rather get punched in the face by Mike Tyson or have your girl tell you the truth to say the last dude she was with had better dick than you? You know what the brother said? What you think they said? Punch me in my shit. You can't unhear that. Your eye will heal. Let's see.
And I just think we lost the plot. Like, if you got anything else to say about a proposal other than congratulations and keep it pushing, especially publicly, like if you want to talk shit that bad, send it to the group chat. Kia, if you really wanted this girl to know that her man was cheating, DM her. Send her the messages. Save her. Don't embarrass her. I just wonder if we're ever going to hit a
good message
point on the internet where people stop thinking it's normal to comment on or be so mean about seemingly innocent, just like normal shit. Like a guy proposing to his girlfriend after a football game. Like, we get it. A lot of athletes date white women. The sky's blue and the clouds are white. And
so just to be clear and to reiterate, overwhelmingly they don't, right? But we do see a lot of pictures where it seems like it's growing, but overwhelmingly black men that got bread stay with black women, but this is the conversation we continue to have. Black men do date out at about a 7% click higher than black women. Why is that? What's the association? The athletes, I think you just surrounded and you never seen it before. You never seen like the different attitude and it's just a difference. It's like people look at these, they talking about she's exotic. If you grow up in an environment where it's predominantly black, whatever the case is, I think that they get like enamored and the behaviors manifest differently. And I think they just get caught up. I think his situation is different. I'm not a proponent of interracial marriage, interracial dating, and most people aren't, right? Before people, respond to that, the overwhelming majority of people date, marry, divorce within their own race, right? So that's nothing. That's regular shit. You never see no East Indian with nobody else, very rarely. You have Asian women that have an infatuation for white men. They date out the most, right? But I think that even when you look at anime as an example, the characters, now I heard that the characters are made to look like cats, like with their features, but their main characters are white for the most part, right? So there's an infatuation there, right? You even say his name will be John Woo, John Maesao Dung, but they seemingly take on the characteristics of white people. They try to assimilate and exude white culture. So Asian women date out the most, but generally speaking, most people date within their race. But let me show y'all this just in case y'all getting too confused by the propaganda seemingly that is spread. Now, what gets me is the NFL, tweeted out, Instagrammed the Reeves proposal. There's plenty of pictures of this one. They actually have a family already. They've been engaged. A salute to Devontae Smith, receiver of the Eagles, went to Alabama, right? Won the Heisman. He knew he was going to be good. We knew he was going to be good. Bigger name, arguably a better player, integral to the Eagles being successful. The quarterback that he plays with now, he played with in college. The storyline is beautiful, but this one isn't getting the spotlight. Why? Because propaganda is what is reported. The things that they want you to believe and think, what they put in front of you is the truth, right? Perception is 9/10. Reality is much less important. But let me show y'all this just in case we continue to get confused. And remember this stat. 85% of black men who make 100,000 or better are married to black women.
Devonna Smith and Mia Danielle are going into 2025 as an engaged couple. Devonna gets engaged to girlfriend Mia Danielle in New Year's Eve rooftop proposal. The Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver proposed to Danielle on New Year's Eve, and she proudly shared the news in a post on her Instagram. She captioned her post, "Went on a rock climbing adventure with my forever tonight." In the photos, the couple can be seen on the roof of a tall building, in front of a colorful flower arch featuring roses, sunflowers, and greenery. Both couples wore sleek, matching black outfits for the proposal, and despite the rain apparent in the photo, both were beaming in photos as Smith slipped the ring onto Danielle's hand. Candles decorated the floor in the picture, and a violinist was on hand to serenade the happy pair. Danielle also shared an up-close video of the
planned, beautiful, matching. Now, the baby that you saw, that's their daughter. They actually have another one on the way as well. Or I don't know if it's a boy or girl. But this is a story, a love story, to last a lifetime. He did it the right way. Not musty or dirty after his football game, which is cool. But this man put thought into this. But I didn't see it reported out and tweeted. Why do we focus on the shit we don't like? Right? Salute to Devontae Smith and his girlfriend, fiance, soon-to-be wife.
The ring to her Instagram story, captioning it, "Ending the year of fiance," and jokingly adding, "Y'all take a shot for me." The exciting news comes after the couple recently announced they are expecting another bundle of joy. Smith and Danielle, who first debuted their relationship on Instagram in June 2023, they welcomed their first child, daughter Kais, in October 2023.
What's up, Kais? Stuff like that seemingly gets missed, gets glossed over. That's a story worth reporting. So isn't Reeves. Whatever about Jahmyr Gibbs, right? Don't focus on the shit that they want you to. Focus on the shit that's actual, right? Don't get caught up in the propaganda. Don't let that steer you or curve you or shape your opinion. Do more due diligence. They show you what they want you to know, not what you should know quite often. There's a lot of stuff that's being put in front of us, but you gotta see the forest through the trees. 85% of black men are with black women. That 85% being the black men who make over $100K a year. So you have the NFL is 70% black. Jahmyr Gibbs is the outlier. All right. Jeremy Reeves is the outlier. Devontae Smith, that beautiful family you just saw. That's the norm. All right. Black men date out more than black women. Yes. We have to ask ourselves why. Again, speculation is when you get to the PWI, man, white girls be everywhere, all over the place, willing to do whatever you say, whatever you want. They cater to you. It's like they're there for that distinct purpose. Distinct purpose, but their actions are palatable. The assumption is that the black women don't have the same conduct. Right? So we have to make an assessment. I'll just tell you once again, overwhelmingly people date within their own race. I'm a proponent of people dating within their own race, marrying within their own race. And the last stat I'll leave you with is 85% of black men who make over $100,000 marry black women. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Be safe and do the right thing, man. Like, share, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And I'm out.